when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. That is a quote that I never forgot. And the funny thing is that we can gaslight ourselves into like talking ourselves into giving these people excuses for their behavior, for their actions, for their words. All right. And the people that I deal with on a daily basis they're slick. Okay. They'll try and get me to emotionally invest in them. They'll try and fake a bunch of emotions on their, like, with themselves. They'll try and fake emotions to get sympathy from me, to get a reaction out of me. And every time it doesn't work, I notice that they immediately pull back, and like they realize that I can't be manipulated. And these people keep trying again and again and again, as if, 2 days later I'll change, or 3 days later I'll be able to be manipulated. But it's my consistency in remaining steadfast, stoic, consistent, grounded, centered. It gets these people, they'll never show it, but it gets these people, it drives them crazy on the inside. And at that point, there's nothing I can do. I'm just trying to protect and guard my energy as much as I can, because in this era, this modern generation, of not just generation, but this modern era, right? 2026, right? Protecting your energy, being centered and remaining focused, and not caving into people's games and sick manipulation is paramount. It is the most valuable lesson and valuable trait that you can have now. A lot of people, all right, most people out here, all right, the robots, the people who are plugged in, very very, very plugged in to, to the world. That's all they know, right? I find that these people usually are immune to manipulation when I hear someone else trying to manipulate them, because they have such a cold heart, and they're tuned into the matrix so hard that that's just how they operate. It's second nature to them. But also, these same people who are plugged into the matrix, they're very good at manipulating when they want to. And that's the kind of dynamic I deal with every day, especially at home and private, in my private life, okay? And so what I've been training myself as a chosen one is to remember that I have to pretty much act like these people and have a cold heart just to protect myself, because if I don't, the manipulation will somehow work. It's worked in the past, and I've learned lessons that way. I'm not proud of, or it's embarrassing to admit that I actually was naive and a fool to certain people in my life. But they're really slick, man. They're slick. Like I said, they'll use emotions. They'll play guilt phrases. They'll use guilt tripping. They'll use fear, obligation, guilt, right? Those are forms of manipulation. And then another three that are very popular that these people use against me and other people like myself. They use pity to patronize. They use shame, and they use anger to instill fear in people like me. All right, and once upon a time those things worked, but now that they don't work, okay, I'm noticing a shift. Not only am I have more energy, and I feel I'm taking back what's mine. I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back what belongs to me, which is my energy, my attention, putting it on myself. But I've noticed that these people, they're like confused. These people will try harder. Narcissists, right? That's what they do as well. They want blind submission. They don't care what the outcome is. They don't care what the effort is. They don't care what the consequences are. They just want somebody to submit to them so they feel superior, right? It's a superiority complex. It's a projection because they feel insecure and they feel, you know, unworthy, and they hate themselves and all that stuff, all right? Based on what I've studied. And I've seen it's been playing out in my life right now. It's been playing out in real time to a point where I'm just like scratching my head, in private. I'm just like, you know, like wow, these people don't stop, do they? They really think they can get somewhere with me. And it's a good feeling because, I'm not going to let these people do this anymore. Or I haven't let these people doing these things. It's been I'd say the past 6 months, especially since I started my SR journey. I've really begun to get centered and grounded on how much I've been disrespecting myself the past, my whole young adulthood, really. And it feels so good. There's nothing like taking back what's yours. So when people do these things to you, all right, whether you're a man or a woman, right, male or female, what I need you to know is that you cannot feel guilty for 1 second about what you're doing. You cannot feel guilty about, deflecting the gaslighting from them, deflecting the pity, the shame, the anger they throw on you. They try to make you feel, right? Misery loves company. Am I right? Misery loves company, and these people will do anything they can to get you as miserable as they are, to get you on their level, like a, miserable and pathetic and small as they are. Now, we don't say these things to these people. I don't tell people these things directly to their face. I don't say that, I'm not going to put up with this pathetic behavior or anything. I don't do that anymore. All right, or I never did, but I don't explain and give reasons anymore. I just withdraw. I change the subject. I walk away. All right, or I leave. Get in the car and go to work, or go to the go study somewhere, or take care of business. And there's no need to explain yourself to these people. There's no need to explain yourself to these toxic haters, these family members, these friends. Like I said in my one of my previous videos, if you're able to, just cut them off eventually. Try and get out. Yeah, they're miserable. Like, their life is never going to be, they're never going to feel fulfilled, because the sad thing is that, one, I can't save them, and I'm not supposed to. You can't save them, and you're not supposed to either. If you've seen what they made their decision, right? People have to want to change. You have to want to be better. And from my experience has presented to me that these people don't want to change. They don't want to. They have no interest in acknowledging what they're doing wrong. They have no interest in taking a inner introspection and looking within themselves. And so, how do they cope with it? They try and criticize and fault find and project onto other people. All right, and so the message for today is to remember how important you are, and remember that there are a lot of people who don't want you to know that you have power. They don't want you to wake up and acknowledge who you are. And, for example, I'll give a personal example for myself here, just a small example. Everybody has a family, right? Whether they're toxic or healthy, it doesn't matter. Usually everyone has a family, whether they're in your life or you cut them off or they're not in your life. Everybody has a family somewhere, right, around. My family, they're around, all right? Now, this is the example I wanted to give. If I were to make any decision, instantly, I get no support. I get no encouragement, no support. Instead, I usually get like mocked, criticized. I don't know what I'm doing. Undermining me, trying to make me feel, basically trying to gaslight me into second guessing myself. And no human being deserves that. You don't deserve that. All right. I don't deserve that. It's really sad how nobody will actually believe in me. Nobody wants to believe in me. So guess what that taught me? It taught me to believe in myself. Now, I see 2 lizards out here. Pretty cool. But yeah, it taught me to believe in myself, okay? And we're the chosen ones. We clap for ourselves, all right? We don't get no credit. We don't get no praise from anybody in our family or friends. We have to clap for ourselves. We got to pat ourselves on the back. We got to, self-soothe and tell ourselves it's going to be okay, right? Like I mentioned before. I think I mentioned it last week when I was making a video. If we answer the phone call, we make sure that we are doing what God wants us to do, right? Fulfilling God's promise, pretty much. Putting our faith in God's promise. The covenant He will give us is pretty much provision. He will provide. Everything will be all right. Because we have no choice to choose that path. Like I said before, it's really funny, but no matter how much I try to blend in, how much I try to fit in and be like everybody else, 1, I stand out like a sore thumb. 2, people reject me anyway. I get criticized, I get mocked, I get laughed at, I get smeared, you name it. So after so many years of this going on in the workplaces, within my family, siblings, parents, friends I used to have, right? After a while, I got the message, and I got the message that no matter what I do, it's not gonna make anyone view me differently. So as chosen ones, we walk alone, all right? We have to. Our peace is important. Our space is important. We're built like this because we're tough people, and we have to find ways to support ourselves and to take the beaten path, take the narrow path, I guess. Because it's really funny, because a lot of people who have done this to me, I'd say about 60% of them, 50 to 60%, call themselves religious, call themselves Christians, call themselves, you name it, whatever religion they are. And to be honest, I don't see a single scrap of them living the way Jesus lived. I don't see a scrap of that going on here, ever. And that's very sad. So for us chosen ones, okay, for people like me, people like yourself, we don't have to go to the pews, all right, to experience the Lord, to experience God, to experience the majesty of the universe, okay? we are the product of God, of the universe. We are the product of this, you know, what we're supposed to do. We are the product of God's hand. All right? So I want to thank you guys for supporting my channel. Hit the thumbs up button, like the video, all right? Subscribe or comment or do all of them. But anyways, thank y'all for, I hope this video helped you, and thank you for your continued support, and I hope you guys have a great day.